How a $3 hot dog uncovered a $24.7 million lottery scam.
So how do you achieve the American dream if your dad doesn't own an emerald mine? You walk into the store, you plunk down $1, and with nothing but luck, you win the lottery. And while that's a great dream, of course, I mean, we all know the odds are astronomical, but what if we could maybe control those odds?
Dude, in the lotteries, odds are so astronomically low that most people don't even realize the improbability that they would ever win, like, the Mega Millions. Let me Google it. 1 in 292 million. So, and I still go, and I go buy it, right? But sitting there, and yeah, like everybody always says, well, one person wins it. Yeah, one person out of 200 million people that bought a lottery ticket.
Them completely. Illegally winning a mind-boggling $24 million over the course of a decade. Eddie Tipton's considered the greatest lottery cheat of all time. But you gotta ask, how the hell did he pick the winning lottery numbers multiple times for over 10 years? Well,
they never tried to see if that man was cheating. You win the lottery for 10 years straight, and they just never say, okay, what the like, if you won the lottery 10 times in a row, I feel like like, dude, 3 times in a row, people are going to be like,
it's kind of simple.
What?
Eddie Tipton worked for the lottery.
Oh. Ah, well, there it is. How the hell does this have to do with a $3 hot dog?
On December 29, 2010, the Hot Lotto in Iowa held its drawing for a $16.4 million jackpot. Now, the winning ticket had been purchased at a Quick Trip convenience store in Des Moines, Iowa. Why would you live there? But for someone, the American dream, became very real. But then the ticket went unclaimed for days.
If you live in Des Moines, Iowa, and you win the lottery and you don't leave Iowa, wasting that fucking lottery win. What the fuck? I live in Iowa. Yeah, if you live in Iowa and you ever win the fucking $20 million lottery and you choose to stay in Iowa, you're an insane person.
Well, it's been almost a month since we had announced that we had a Hot Lotto, $16.5 million Hot Lotto winner. Person who has purchased or owns this ticket probably doesn't know that they have it.
And then it was nearly a year. Now, believe it or not, the lottery officials actually want the money to be claimed. It's good PR to have the big winner holding a big old check. And in the meantime,
why is he holding a $1 fucking check? That's probably like a $40 fucking big lotto ticket that they had a custom print. Stinking rich. $1.
Check. And in the meantime, they were flooded with over 200 fake winner claims. Oh, my friend who died in a car accident had the ticket. The winning ticket to my grandma's casket. But what the public didn't know was they had a video of the person buying the ticket along with the serial number. And anyone that wanted to take the claim had to verify both of those, which no one could nearly a year later. Now, public reminders would issue every single month, and
Yo, that sucks. Chat, what would y'all do if you bought a lotto ticket, lost it, and then they had the footage of you buying it, and you were like, oh my god, that's me, but it's on a 180p webcam and you can't prove that it's you? I think I'd become the Joker. I think I would honestly just become a villain. Like IRL fucking DC villain. Like fucking Bane or some shit. I think I'd honestly lose my shit, dude.
It made national news about this unclaimed ticket because 1 year after that purchase date, the $16 million ticket would expire to nothing. Now, 30 days before the expiration date, Canadian attorney Philip Johnston called in and provided what no one else could, the correct serial numbers for the winning lottery ticket. And he had said he had purchased the ticket himself, but then said he could not personally deliver the ticket because he was too sick to come down from Canada. Maybe it sounds a little sketch, but they asked him what he wore on the day that he bought it, and Philip paused. He was wearing a tweed jacket with dress pants and dress shoes. Now, although he gave the correct serial number, the man in the video buying the winning ticket was wearing a hoodie and sweatpants. He was lying, so they didn't give him the jackpot.
And what, dumb? Why does he have his hood up? What a rough play, chat. It's a little too nippy outside. You have your hood up, the camera doesn't even catch your face, and you buy this fucking winning lotto ticket, you're never even gonna fucking get that shit. You think the guy even knows? Dude, there's probably people that had $1 million lotto tickets in their fucking hand, lost it, and they don't even know that they had it.
So they didn't give him the jackpot. Now, a week later, Philip Johnston calls in again, but now with a different story, stating that he had actually told a little white lie, that it wasn't him that bought the ticket, but he was representing the winner of it, and he was a wealthy man who wanted to remain anonymous. Now, there's just one problem with
What? What? Can't you just say you want to remain anonymous if you win a lottery ticket? You could just fucking go up and say, hey, it's me, but I don't want you to say my name. And they'd be like, yeah, fine.
the last hour before this $16 million ticket expired, an attorney from New York shows up with the actual winning ticket in his hand.
We've been looking for 365 days for this, and with 1 hour and 50 minutes left, the two individuals you just met brought us what we believe is the winning ticket for the Hot Lotto jackpot.
But this time, the ticket was signed by a trust in the Belize, and the trust beneficiary was a shell company in Belize. And who was the president of that shell company? Oh, it was Philip Johnston, the attorney that called in the first time.
We've got to make sure that we're paying the right amount and the money to the proper and appropriate person.
So did he get it? Is that his ticket? He said it wasn't.
Are not paying this particular ticket today.
Then, in a last-ditch effort, the attorneys asked if they could claim the money in cash and then turn it over to the state and they could give it to charity.
But lottery lawyers declined based on concerns about the legality of the purchase, possession, and presentation of the ticket.
We couldn't verify the winner.
Now, the attorneys were so angry at this point that they actually threatened to sue the Iowa Lottery until they realized that they would have to actually reveal the real winner's name in the court case.
The lottery received yet another letter. The purchaser of the ticket has elected to remain anonymous and withdraw the claim. And to think,
who won it? Why would they? After all of this, you're gonna you're either gonna not get the money or you're gonna fucking say who you are and you get $16 million. What the fuck? The only way I could possibly perceive that person wanting to remain anonymous if it was like Donald Trump himself or some shit. Like, you have so much money already that you're just like, whatever. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. What the fuck? Anyone else? Anyone else? You could already be rich, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, that was me. Yeah, thank you. I'll go public and thank you for the fucking 16 mil. What the fuck?
all that person had
You're a criminal? Ah. Yo, maybe it was somebody that was like illegally in the US and they bought it or some shit. Because that could happen. Possibly. That makes more sense.
to do was provide birth date and address, and they would have walked away with millions of dollars.
And the $16 million jackpot went to no one. Now, why were they trying so hard to
I know
hide
a few people that spent like $1,000 on lottery tickets, which is still just so stupid. Because, dude, you spent $1,000 on a 1 in 297 million chance. Bravo, buddy. You just fucking burned that shit. Set it on fire.
the name of this ticket winner? Was the real winner possibly murdered? Maybe a victim of blackmail? Or maybe even theft? Either way, the whole thing stunk, and the FBI was called in to investigate.
The FBI?
Now, it seemed a bit strange when Eddie Tipton, the security director for the
Oh my god, the guy's ticket it is the fucking dude that runs it.
State Lottery lived in a 8,500 square foot mansion decked out with a 20-seat custom home theater and a basketball court. Now, Eddie didn't make that much money. His coworkers at the lottery often wondered—
And that's why he covered his head! He went in, he knew the numbers it was gonna be, so he fucking wrote him in and fucking covered his dome so then he could possibly get it without having to say who he is.
how the hell can
Nah,
you—
that's actually smart as fuck, though. I can't even hate him for that. That's mad smart. That's so fucking smart. Wow, dude. Cover your face. Get an attorney. Get it to route through all that shit. That's like fraud, though. I feel like that's a form of like fucking some sort of scam.
afford a baller mansion when he only made about $90,000 a year? Now, he told his lottery co-workers that his house was just his one vice, and that even though he was single and in his 40s, that one day he was gonna have a huge family. And this story kind of made sense. It was 2007. A lot of people bought homes they couldn't afford.
You're in your 40s. I don't think the old hose is gonna be shooting the highest quality genetics. After a certain point, you're single in your late 40s, and you're like, yeah, I'll start a family at some point. Better chop, buddy. You got about 10 years until the snake stops shooting water. That ain't gonna work soon.
So no one, not even his co-workers at the lottery, suspected a thing. Now, as the FBI investigated the case, it kind of went cold. There wasn't a lot of evidence, there's too many dead ends. Until 4 years later, it ended up on prosecutor Rob Sands' desk. Now, nobody expected
Rob Sands looks 10 and 30 at the same time.
him to get anywhere, but Rob Sands was the hot new prosecutor on the block that wanted to make a name for himself. But all Rob had to work with was a grainy video of the dude buying the ticket that they didn't know, and the name of some Better Call Saul Canadian attorney that called in with the winning ticket. So investigators flew up to Canada to interview the first attorney, but then he said that he was actually collecting the ticket on behalf of another attorney that was from Texas. And when they went to that attorney, he said the winning ticket had been given to him by Texas businessman Robert Rhodes. But Robert Rhodes looked and sounded nothing like the guy in that video. So 4 years after having the lottery drawing held, Rob Sands released that video nationwide to ask for help in trying to identify the guy in that video, along with an audio track of his voice.
No thanks.
Now within days,
No way they find the motherfucker just from his voice. What? Are people that good at that shit?
Thanks.
Now, within days, thousands of people called in to the FBI, and it sounded like my grandpa. Oh, it sounded like my coworker. But one name.
Oh, I think that would. No, that sounds just like me. Dude, I forgot I bought that ticket. Oh, no fucking way, man. Do I get the money? God, dude, that sounded just like me in that fucking video, bro. Oh, sounded just. I'm telling you, I bought that lottery ticket. He asked me if I wanted the Sizzler, and I said, yeah, no, man. No, I'll pass.
Kept coming up. You see, dozens and dozens of lottery employees from across the country had called in and instantly recognized the voice as Eddie Tipton. But this was a little hard to believe. I mean, Eddie Tipton was the security director for the multi-state lottery, meaning he's the guy in charge of making sure no one cheated, and legally couldn't even buy.
Oh my God, the $3 hot dog, because he asked him if he wants the Sizzler. He would have said nothing. He would have went and walked away. Nah, man, I'm good for the Sizzler. I just would have went. Just make some Kermit-ass sound like I'm a fucking Muppet.
Lotto tickets. But what were the odds that Eddie Tipton could also pick the winning numbers? The coincidences were too far. So how are the winning numbers picked for the
Yeah, how the fuck would he know? Because isn't it just like a random tumbling thing?
lottery? Well, back in the day, the numbers were put on ping pong balls, whipped around in a cage, and one by one were taken out in the public eye.
God, I remember. Is that not how they do the lottery anymore? Dude, I miss that shit. That's not how they do it now? I remember y'all remember watching this back in like the fucking early 2010s, like late 2000s. I remember being like 7, like 2009, 2010. It'd be like, oh, we're drawing it today. You have your grandpa with the fucking ticket, and he's like, come on. Come on, 27. First number, 6. Fuck. Come on, 43. 7. Shit.
cheated the game by filling some of the balls with water to improve their own odds, and then when those balls exploded on live TV, a new system was needed. Now today, lotteries pick the winning numbers using computers, but to understand the real genius of how Eddie Tipton cheated, we need to remember that computers never do anything randomly. So how do you get a random number on a computer? Well, you actually kinda don't. So it starts with an input number and runs it through a complex math problem called the random number generator to output a final number that looks random. But if you have that same input number, you will always get that same final number, and that's kind of the problem. So to get a truly random final number, one that you could use for the lottery, you need a random input number. So lotteries measure the radiation of americium-241 in the air. That number's plugged into a random number generator.
Really?
Of americium lottery, you need a random input number. So lotteries measure the radiation of americium-241 in the air. That
No fucking way that's how they find the input number.
is plugged into a random number generator, and that comes up with the winning lotto numbers. Now, what's americium-241, you might ask? Well, it's the microscopic nuclear fallout from weapons tests over the last 50 years that surrounds everyone on Earth. I mean, it really is no big problem. But remember, each time you take that same input number and run it through the math problem, you will always get that same final random number. So like in a perfect theoretical sense, it actually isn't random. But that was the crack that Eddie Tipton managed to exploit.
Yeah, but
Now, in
how would he know? How would he know what number would be put in?
January of 2015, Eddie Tipton was arrested for defrauding the Iowa lottery. Now, the feds had a decent amount of evidence against him. Video was clear, the audio analysis matched up with his voice, and even though Eddie said he was out of town the day that ticket was bought, well, his own phone records show that he was in that store at that time when the winning ticket was bought.
Wow.
Now, in custody, he lawyered up. He didn't say a word about how or if he even did it, and the feds had no idea how he did it. So the only thing they could nail him for was buying a lottery ticket as a lottery worker.
Now, again, these fraud
That's
charges.
all he got? What is that? Buying a lottery ticket at as a lottery worker? That's probably like $1,000 fine. No way that's like an actual prison sentence.
Against Tipton, we're told, are based solely on the belief that he attempted to falsely redeem a lottery ticket and have nothing to do with any evidence that he was somehow able to use his position and expertise to manipulate the game.
But then the skeletons came out of Eddie's closet.
Oh, because he's won it multiple times.
Gotten his job as the director of security for the lottery as a convicted felon for burglary. How does that even happen? Now, in court, Eddie would demand a fast and swift trial, but prosecutor Rob Sands actually thought this was odd. Most white-collar criminals don't get caught on the first time they commit a crime. He thought maybe Eddie wanted to shorten the investigation time because maybe there was more fraudulent lottery tickets out there that they hadn't discovered.
Shit.
Now, when Eddie was asked about who Robert Rhodes was to him, you know, the Texas business guy that had the $16 million ticket, well, Eddie said he had no idea who he was. He didn't know what he looked like. He never even heard of the name. But they were friends on Facebook. They had been co-workers for the last 10 years. They were best friends. When Eddie Tipton was asked what he did for work, he had failed to mention one little detail, that he was the guy that wrote the program that picked the winning lottery numbers. Now, at this point, it looked like an inside job, or it was a huge amount of coincidences that had led Eddie Tipton's best friend to win the lottery. Now, there was one huge problem with this entire case. The computer that the numbers were used to pick the winning lottery numbers had been...
Yo, I just give the number to my friends. Like a distant friend, you know? I'd be like, let's meet up for coffee. I'd say, all right, who's somebody you know that has zero connection to me? And then I'll give you the number, you're gonna give them the number, they're gonna win, and they're gonna make an agreement that they're gonna give me a percentage of the money. I feel like that's a foolproof plan.
Times over. Now, although there was no evidence about how this actually happened,
Oh, you did it 3 times?
It's had a decent theory. Now, the Hot Lotto uses 2 computers that are locked in a room that only 5 people have access to. And you guessed it, Eddie Tipton was one of those people. Now, inside of that room, there's a locked plexiglass box that you need 2 keys from 2 employees to open up, and then they pick the winning lottery numbers. And this whole process is recorded on cameras 24/7. So how could have this hacking been done? Those cameras that record 1 frame every minute, meaning that
1 fucking frame every minute? Bitch, I'm gonna run in there. I'm gonna let that picture snap. I'm gonna run in there, beep, 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 and then leave.
theoretically, Eddie Tipton could have gone inside the room for some routine maintenance with another coworker. While that coworker was turned away, in the span of 59 seconds, Eddie Tipton could have put in a USB key, changed an estimated 2 lines of code, and then he would know what the winning lottery numbers are that only he would know about. But in Eddie's defense, there was no evidence of any of this. All of the witnesses testified Eddie Tipton was the man in that video. Even the person that had sold him that lotto ticket and the hot dog said it was him. But Eddie Tipton's defense had a rebuttal to that. They said that that was actually impossible because Eddie Tipton is not a hot dog guy, that he's more of a jack-in-the-box man. And honestly,
imagine that's just your concrete defense. I just don't like hot dogs. Nah, I just don't like hot dogs. No, I would have said no to the sizzly.
through 44,000 winning lottery tickets across all of the states for over a decade. And they would cross-reference the winners with Eddie Tipton's Facebook friends, phone numbers, LinkedIn's, and some strange coincidences came up. On November 23rd, 2005, Eddie Tipton's brother won a $600,000 jackpot in Colorado. Eddie Tipton's program was used in Colorado. On December 29, 2007, Robert Rhodes had won $800,000 in Wisconsin. Eddie
Wow.
Tipton's program was used in Wisconsin. On November 23rd, 2011, Kyle Kahn, who was a good friend of Eddie Tipton's brother, won $1.2 million in Oklahoma. Eddie Tipton
Ah, the plan is foiled, chat. Fuck. Fuck, that was my exact plan. That was my exact plan. Fuck, man. We gotta go one more step. We gotta go a friend's friend. I give them the code, right? I give them the code in a fucking paper bag in the back of a fucking Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Tipton's program was used there. And on December 29, 2010, in Kansas, Eddie Tipton's ex-girlfriend that he met on...
Gotta say rough, Tat. I gotta say that. That's a dragon on the lower stomach going into the genital area.
Eddie Tipton's ex-girlfriend that he met on eHarmony won $22,000.
Wow. Okay, see, that's like not... 22 grand, you know, that'd be fucking great to win that. 22 grand is not life-changing money. That's like you win 22K, that'll help. But you're not like, that's not like I'm gonna retire. That's like, this will help me pay off my mortgage. This will get rid of my student loan debt, is 22K.
There was no evidence of this program until they found a storage unit that had one computer that was used to do the winning lotto numbers in 2007. Right there in plain sight on the computer, they discovered the code that Eddie had actually used, and it was exactly how they theorized. On those 2 dates, it would put in a specific input number so that the random number generator would be something that Eddie always knew for the winning numbers for the lottery. So with enough evidence to tie him to 5 hacked lottery drawings, Eddie Tipton finally confessed.
Mr. Tipton, I'm Kim from KCCI. What's your reaction to the sentencing today?
Shock. That's it.
But Eddie claimed that he was never in the lottery scam business and actually said he was an accidental felon. He said one day he was playing around with the program and realized a crucial flaw, noticed he could exploit it, and then just left the hacked program there for over a decade. I mean, all the situation was a geeky computer hacker who was just messing around with the program, who's so genius that he just, sorry. And Eddie really believes this, stating, "I'm a single guy making about $100,000 a year. I didn't need the money." With that, Eddie Tipton will be sentenced to 25 years.
Wow. He's probably gonna go to a decent prison though. Like white collar crimes, if you're like Sam Bankman-Fried's getting thrown in prison for fraud, or not fraud, whatever the fuck it is. But like if you're committed for like a white collar crime, your cellmate's not gonna be fucking a first degree murderer. Like you're probably gonna get sentenced with somebody else. That's crazy though that worked for that long. Like and if he didn't literally say I want a hot dog, do you think they would have ever found him? Maybe. If the FBI was on it, maybe. That was a good ass video though. That was a W video in the chat, dude. I fucking love that guy.